Well, we also have an important guest. It's been a long time coming because remember, since the election, my goal has been to, because I don't know what I'm doing, and I have a forum, and I immediately had reactions that were both predictable, unhelpful, and ultimately unguiding. I got mad at everybody and bought a gun and have since basically been trying to focus on quitting all my jobs and building a bat cave with a crossbow aimed at the door. But I in the meantime, I've wanted to use my platform if I could to like signal boost the whole spectrum. You know, the only step I've taken was we flew Gotham Girl out from New York, and I don't know if she would want to be called, I don't know what label she'd want to be called. She calls herself an Eleanor Democrat in her bio. She talked about, it's important. It was important to hear from an intelligent person's perspective, like basically don't give up on what we would call the old Democratic Party. Let's hack it the way that the Nazis have hacked the right wing, the Republican Party. I mean, they infiltrated it, took it over, and now the word Republican means I want to win. It didn't mean much before that, but it's like, and I think the idea is like, come on, we can make we can still use this shell of a Democratic Party, hack it, drive it from the inside because it has the numbers and the systemic advantage that it's the only thing that can rock 'em, sock 'em that robot. So now let's hear. Maybe I would assume maybe another perspective, but I want to definitely be clear that we wanted to have somebody from the DSA on, the Democratic Socialists of America, and but this is a guy who's a member of them. He doesn't represent them as a leader or anything. He's not a spokesman. We'll talk about how he resigned from his position as an official spokesman because of a little gridlock, little cultural gridlock, comedic cultural gridlock that happened where he did the smart thing and like backed out as being a representative. So, but what he is a guy who understands that perspective, which I think is different from the other one that we've gotten.
And we tried to get an official spokesperson officially sanctioned by a local chapter of the DSA, and we tried for multiple months. I want to say 4 or 5 in total. And then we took matters into our own hands and just were like, hey, this guy, I think he knows something. Let's get him.
Like the socialist activists that we are. We took matters in our own hands. But I don't know whose fault that is.
It's their fault, and if they want to be taken seriously as a political group, they should get on their shit.
Do we know for sure that Levy isn't
I'm going to take that stand. I'll take that stand, and I'll take the stand that Steve has been cock-blocking them from day one as the alt-right subversive insurgent that he is.
Okay, good. Well, let's bring up our new friend Josh Androsky.
Oh yeah, he's got 2 cans.
Hi.
Hello, Josh.
How are you?
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Now I feel bad I didn't shake Spencer.
You got
No,
some.
it's
You got some LaCroix there.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
You came up double fisting some LaCroix.
I quit drinking, and I know this podcast well enough to know that there would be no non-alcoholic beverages.
Right, just like Dino's party.
It's taking matters into your own hands.
Spencer did I don't know if he did it out of fashion or climate control, but you walked in and you were wearing the same shirt.
Socialists prove that white people do have culture.
I thought you were just going to say socialists dress like Spencer.
Yeah, no, we do. We all
That's the subtext.
People can Google and they can Wikipedia and stuff. I Wikipedia'd and Googled for the 11-minute drive from Los Feliz to Burbank. Here's what you can learn by reading and scrolling. The DSA was once a part of the IS, the International Socialist, or Socialist International SI, Sports Illustrated.
If they were
playing
part of Sports Illustrated, our swimsuit issue was like really revolutionary. We had one swimsuit for all the models.
Yes, it was Betty Friedan wearing a burqa.
Yeah, it was.
They're all wearing gas masks.
It was Frida Kahlo designed it. It was incredible.
But there was a split in 1982, what we now call the DSA, like voted to extricate themselves from the larger global socialists.
So basically, none of that shit matters at all. The history and what I mean to say is I don't know. Because the DSA fundamentally transformed during the last election.
Right. It's now what it is. But it's important to note, for instance, that it's not a political party, right?
No.
You don't have a candidate.
Right. So we're not a political party in the sense that we're not going to fall. And hopefully, this is what people have worked towards, and my friends and myself have worked towards. We don't want to fall into the trapping of the Green Party, where you just every 4 years trot out somebody that is like whatever, just a person, good or bad, and then it's like every 4 years you're like, hey, let's change everything from the president down, because nobody knows who the fuck we are.
Exactly.
And so,
well, also, it just falls apart. Like, you just can't. If we have a problem with the way the system has been run, part of the problem is that there's just some knucklehead who supposedly is supposed to not offend everybody every minute of every day.
And supposedly that there's, that the president, I think Donald Trump has proven more than anything that the president doesn't really do that much.
Right.
That the president is more of a figurehead right now, and
he
has
certainly
become...
can't. What we do know about that office is that you can't blow up the world from it within less than a year.
Right, which
makes it relatively less powerful than, let's say, the head of Al Qaeda.
Yeah, or a general,
right.
An unelected person in our government. And so what we have done as far as the idea of are we a political party or not? In local elections, that's where we're focusing. We truly think you were talking about how it's the big robot fight, the Pacific Rim between the Democrats and the Republicans or whatever. We're the little land speeders tying their legs together, if yes,
this is Rob Schraub.
Snow speeder. We're the little snow speeders. Fuck, I ruined it. Rob. Nobody likes the DSA anymore because I fucked up the Star Wars reference. This is bad. So
no, I don't think that's what. You said. Oh, he said land speeders, and you're correcting him. Wow,
he's right.
I'm catching up.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Schraub, by the way, is that little black box that Chewbacca scared on the Death Star. Only there's no Chewbaccas here.
What they make the whole Death Star out of the black box?
What was the name of that droid? What was the name of that little droid?
I'm guessing you're asking because you know.
I don't know. Right?
Oh, wow.
It's
420 69.
420 69. Fucking never forget.
Never forget.
All right,
69.
yeah. So but that's important to know because right away to me it's because you backed. I'm saying you like you're this whole group, but you pick a candidate in these big fights.
Sure. Traditionally, no, but in this last election, yes, with Bernie, because Bernie was the only candidate that was left of sort of the centrist opinion who actually had a shot. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't with them during that period, but I know that they were like, hey, let's back Bernie. But for me, and the way that I got into the DSA is I was sick and tired. I was always the guy when the bad shit would happen, that I would be the first guy out to protest. I would be the first person out to do a benefit show about the bad thing. And I was sick and tired of reacting to all the bad shit. And I was like, well, how do you stop the bad shit from happening? And I thought, I'm one guy. I'm not a billionaire, and I'm not like Timothy Comcast with access to all the resources in the world.
That little prick.
Yeah, fucking Timothy Comcast
has not earned his position as CEO of Comcast at all.
Obviously,
clearly nepotism.
Clearly,
I mean, there's no way that's a coincidence.
No. I know he says he spells it with a K, but we all know he's fucking joking. He looks just like his dad.
But, he's got the antenna and the blinking light on his forehead.
Yeah. So I saw that the DSA was doing stuff locally. And the idea that we all fight in all these similar battles. Everybody's fighting for better housing, for better medicine, to treat oppressed groups like human beings. We all have these fights locally within our own communities. And so if every city bands together and makes, topples their local Trump, then that will lead to a domino effect because there's Trumps everywhere, and oftentimes they're way funnier and crazier than the actual Trump because they don't think anyone's looking at them. And so it's all about...
It's like probably local wrestling franchises are like way more crazy than WCW or whatever.
Yeah, like the ECW where they were just...
Is that guy really staring to the sun, man?
Yeah. Is that guy a dancing queen? Is the ABBA-themed wrestler?
The outlet forker. This seems irresponsible, but that's District 12.
Watch out for running with scissors, man.
Hey, kids, when you're out there, grab those scissors. Left-handed, right-handed, run with them. You got to run free. Don't let people make you walk with scissors. You got to stare in the sun. You got to put those scissors in an outlet. Hoo-ah! And his catchphrase is hoo-ah?
That's actually his entire catchphrase. He says that every time.
Well, he's Army.
Or he's scent of a woman derivative.
Yeah, it is Pacino. That's Pacino's latest role as running with scissors. Man, he has just become a caricature of himself.
Oh God! Oh, diggity dog! Hey, I don't know. I just wanted
diggity dog.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did he say that in Dog Day Afternoon?
Yeah, probably. Diggity dog! I want my ransom. I want my trans lover. I want to talk to a negotiator. Diggity dog! Dog day. We got a dog day here.
Dog bullet.
I told you about the time I peed next to him at the restaurant, and he had headphones in. And he was like, I think learning lines. I'm peeing next to Pacino. He's like,
as it's coming out, is that the reaction to the? Was it a good pee?
I think he was learning lines. He had little earbuds in, and he.
This is maybe
I don't know.
This is part of what the explanation for what Pacino became as an icon. Like, it's that he started running lines at the urinal, so he's suffering from piss shiver while he's like committing these lines. Like he,
it's funny you mentioned that, Dan. Tonight's show has been brought to you by Piss Shiver.
Piss Shiver. Is your body filled with the warmth of having body temperature urine in its bladder? As it rapidly exits, don't just shiver, piss shiver when you're at the urinal and can't explain why you're suddenly shuddering.
Hey, look down here. It's me, your dick. I sure been shivering a lot while I've been pissing.
I ain't just an enlarged form of clitoris that was mutated when your species decided to become sexually reproductive instead of asexual. That was just thank you, ladies.
Can we? Is there a way to reverse angle on Rob Schraub with his feet on the stage? He's so clearly.
You look like you're about to rap battle at an office.
Well, why don't we bring him up now that we're comfortable? You're not.
Do we have enough mics? It doesn't look like there's.
We got mics.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Sorry, everybody.
Rob Schraub to the stage.
If we can't control you, you can't control us.
Lethargically lifting himself
he doesn't want to be up here. Now it's going to be.
Sits and pulls his legs up on the stage.
Yeah!
Sauntering to the chair, he gestures lazily at the microphone and cup.
Hello.
He stands.
Hi, Rob. How's it going?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay.
What have you been up to, Rob? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I went to Topanga and spent it with Kate's parents.
Yeah?
And family.
Do they enjoy you?
I think so.
Do they like their Rob Schraubs?
I think so. I was cutting it up during dinner.
Do you remember any bon mots that you fucking threw out?
Bon mots.
Top three bon mots.
Bon mot.
Number one.
Bon mots.
Number three.
Bon mot.
I don't know what that word is.
Bon mot.
Bon mot.
Bon mot.
Any zinger.
I still don't know. No matter how you pronounce
any fun little, little sugar-coated fucking zingers.
I don't really remember. It was just a lot of just me being an idiot. I don't really have any.
What's your secret, Rob? When you go into a room,
just say things. That's my.
When you're in a room full of strangers, if you could give people out there any advice, what would be your advice to somebody going into a room full of strangers and how to win them over?
Oh God, I don't know.
In like a social or a professional setting?
Yeah, either. Let's just say at a social setting, like Thanksgiving.
I don't know how I would. I don't think I've ever won anybody over.
Well, why don't you take some time with that question, and then the format of the show will be we'll swivel back over to to talking about the DSA, and then we'll when we come back to Schraub, we're going to learn his secret for when he enters a room.
We're going to find out your secret. Just going to find out your
think about it for a second.
Monetize it, dude.
Just think about it for.
Monetize
He doesn't
what?
have to monetize it. He just has
Don't
to.
know what you
Just think about it for 5 minutes. I'm going to talk to Josh Androsky from the DSA.
And then you think about your secret, Rob. Your secret.
I'm
How
not
do you
making the
keep your
mistake that
hair
anybody
so
wants to
soft and
listen to
manageable?
me be a fake interviewer for or know about. I'm saying like let's blend this. This is good. It's like a parfait. So just think about the answer to that question. What's your secret, Josh? We can't really talk about the Democratic Party or the remnants thereof without talking about this new word that I learned: neoliberalism.
Ah, yes. Neoliberalism. Neoliberalism is basically socially liberal, but not, but like fiscally conservative. And as somebody
Corporately friendly.
Generally corporate.
right, and I forget who tweeted this. It's one of my favorite tweets. It was, "I'm socially liberal but fiscally conservative. I hate the problems, but I love their causes." and that's really what it is. It's like, and somebody else tweeted like the platonic ideal of neoliberalism is to have racial and gender balance on the board of a drone company.
Right.
You know, it's like this hollow identity politics. Something like Los Angeles' district attorney is a woman of color, right? And you think that's a victory to have a black woman in such like a big, you know, a position of power, and it is. However, she has not persecuted any murderous policeman in her entire tenure, and so something like that would be like an example of that's probably neoliberalism in action. It's somebody who doesn't want to upset the status quo, who still wants the ultra wealthy to be as rich as possible, and the rest of us to be fighting for crumbs. But
it's the thing that was working yesterday, which I have found in my exploration of white fragility. I went and bought a gun. That's a classic neoliberal move, I would say.
I mean, it's just a classic white dude move. That's a classic scared white guy move, is to buy it. It's the scared white guy move.
And my therapist would say, "Who's the gun for?" But she's my therapist, so I didn't realize until 10 minutes into the conversation, she's asking, "Is it for you?"
Yep.
Yeah.
Because Hunter S. Thompson bought one at one point, didn't buy it for himself. And I'm like, "Thank you for that
he's
equation."
famous.
More
For
important,
blowing his brains out and letting his daughter find him.
Great suicide note, though.
Yeah.
Football season's over.
Yeah.
but it was because the appeal, the billboard for
Right.
neoliberalism. Now, I think I've been a spokesman for it in my behavior and if I just put my thumb in my mouth and just say what I'm really feeling without Kool-Aid plunging into some cause that's gonna like not benefit me ultimately or in any immediate way that I can feel.
Right.
If I just follow my comfort, I am a neoliberal. I want my Obama back. I want my Obama back.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is something that people need to.
I want you to have committed more to your.
Well, there's an extra syllable in there. I want my Obama back, Obama back, Obama back, Obama back.
Drones.
There's got to be somebody has done that. Come on. Technocratic, bureaucratic, Obama back. Oh,
It's like the West
you know
Wing
what?
was
It's not
real.
a thing because then there's ribs, and then that's an unfortunate cultural connotation that we
Yeah.
don't want to step into.
But you did a really good job of avoiding it until you mentioned that you avoided it.
Right, I know. Well, that's me. That's classic Harmon. Hey, everybody, look, I'm not racist because I wasn't thinking about this. Schraub, all right, what's your secret? No excuse.
How
How are you cutting it up?
How am I cutting it up? I don't know. I was just being an idiot. I mean, like there was 2 children there, and they're
Nice.
at that age that they just are laughing at any
How old?
attention. I think like, like 4 and 6.
Those are good. Those are good social ages.
Yeah.
Like I like the 4s and the 6s.
Yeah,
Like
I get. Yeah, I was just goofing off.
because they're
Acting
verbal
silly.
and they're inquisitive and they're if you talk to them like a grown up, they're pretty fun.
Yeah.
You're not. Are you not to pry? Like this could go into personal stuff with you and Kate, who I married.
You married Kate?
I officiated your marriage to her. You guys had no plans to have children, which is why you didn't bother getting
I was
married.
the MC at that wedding.
Is there any change there? Is there any capacity for change? Do the two of you ever talk about it?
No. No,
You just
absolutely not.
resolved no kids. Like you're both totally.
I think it's come up. Kate just is not interested, and I'm like fine with that. I don't really.
There's other people's kids.
Yeah, I mean, there's other people's kids. My biggest thing about children is parents.
Yeah.
What happens to, do you have kids? Am I insulting
No.
you? Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I do not have kids.
Okay, so it's just, I see what happens to people when they become parents, and it's something that's, great for them. But
Even the
not for
coolest
me.
parents in the world, and I think I have seen them. Like I really.
The cool parents are the worst.
Well, they're not the worst, but because
no, they're the worst.
Well, there's things that it heightens the actual cool parents who are people who I'm like, wow, well, that's as good as you're going to get as far as parenting.
Yeah.
I still recognize that parenting has subsumed their identity,
but that's it. I mean, like it's the thing. Like, first of all, I'll put my dog up against any baby any day. Any day.
Well, that's
of the
a
week.
biological killing machine.
That's not a fair fight.
No.
Your dog could kill more.
No. Not a fight.
Well,
Not a fight. I'll put my
clarify.
dog
You
up
mean
against a baby. Just like, what are you going to do? It's
Also,
like, this dog is
people don't know
adorable,
that
more adorable than your
that
baby.
Rob Schraub runs a baby dog fight ring out of his fucking apartment.
It's
Or a
not
warehouse.
at all what I was saying, but
So where
sure.
are these fights if we wanted to buy tickets?
Like I just said when you interrupted me, that's not what I meant.
How do you
Well,
get
so-
baby blood out of a carpet?
I didn't mean that.
Well,
I meant
club soda.
comparing my dog to a baby.
Yes. Okay. So finish that thought. Like a dog is
My dog.
You can experience
Not a dog, my dog.
You can experience
your
loving-
dog, the notorious baby killer.
Like I just said, that's not what I meant.
All right. Well. All right. Swiveling back over, Josh. We can't. Really
And that's how I charm a new group of people.
I want to talk about the classic thing, but for kids, maybe it's not classic. Like Marxism versus communism versus socialism. Marx versus I just found out about this guy Michael Harrington, who's he's dead, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But he was an author, activist, whatever. He's sort of could we say the Chomsky of the DSA or something? I don't know.
Again, he's a guy who I personally haven't really, and this is the thing that I love about the DSA is I dropped out of high school. I have never read Marx. I think that socialism is, as a concept, it's mostly the liberation of your own body from a corporate overlord. It's basically the idea of putting the capital, putting the means of production, which is specifically what Marx talked about. I've read quotes specifically
you got the Snapple, the limited edition.
Yes.
Marx Snapple.
Yeah, which was weird that his estate agreed to any sort of commodification. But
Yeah, believe it or
Snapple, no
not,
less.
I think it had a lot to do with old world blue blood relationships. The Snapple fortune was, the Marx chewing gum company, which is something they've buried in the history books.
Yeah, they don't talk about that.
They're both Procter and Gamble.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, Marx is I'm with you. I have no research. I'm 11 minutes of Wikipedia.
Right.
The reason I bring this stuff up is because, for instance, your average 16-year-old kid right now who, for better or for worse, is wading in the same swimming pool that we all are. I'm getting in fights on the reg, fam, with people who they could be children.
Right.
They could be 40 years older than me. They could be any of those things and be totally. But we're all splashing around in the same pool, and that's a distinct advantage to people who are driven by competition and individualism and I'll say it, hatred. Because you can say, for instance, if I were to say, I'm having the DSA on my show tomorrow night, someone might say, for instance, I don't know, oh, yeah, great, you guys think Nazis are responsible for all these deaths that you faked, but communism has been responsible for over 80 billion deaths in the last 120 years, blah, blah, blah. Because they want to label and they want to...
And this is the thing that I would say, like, if there's anything that I've learned, it's get off the fucking internet. Stop your, like, book clubs are fine. Like, you can read Marx and talk about whatever. But I learned everything I know about politics, about socialism, about, the thing that radicalized me was going and meeting people, hearing people that work for teachers unions, hearing, some like intellectuals that are like, work as professors or whatever, just rank and file union folks, and nurses and this and that, and talking to all these people and watching the action and participating in an action. That's what teaches me. And to me specifically, I think that we as socialists, we as leftists need to remove ourselves from the world of academia, because I think that was purposefully done. That was sort of a move like, oh, let's get them all in their little bubbles, their little coastal bubbles, where they just sit and they wear glasses and they look like their bones are going to break if they wear a sweater, and they fucking talk and talk and talk, and they just want to jerk off over which dead Russian dude like they liked the most.
Right.
And
playing philosophical chess on a daytime talk show.
Sports. It's the same fucking thing. It's who's your team, who's this, and a lot of politics, not just like leftist politics, a lot of like national politics is just sports as well. But when you actually get offline and get out of the university and go onto the streets and start talking about people and trying to help them, like, DSA right now, for example, like doing an action like this will teach you more, I think, personally about socialism than reading anything. They're putting on a taillight benefit. DSA Los Angeles is doing this inspired by DSA New Orleans. So the thought was, people of color, migrant workers, just undocumented folks, they are getting pulled over and they are being thrown into the carceral state. They're being thrown into, if you're undocumented, you're being thrown into a private prison where they hold immigrants. It's not like they go to a Radisson. They go to a private prison. Or if you're just a fucking black dude, you're going to get fucked with by the cops because the police is inherently a racist system. And so... what we're doing is we are, for free, providing brake lights. If your brake light's out, that's most likely what's going to get you pulled over.
Right, and then they can search your car and stuff because you look not white.
Right, exactly. And it could, and likely often does, end up with some unarmed person being shot. And so if that is a concept that's like borrowed from the Black Panthers, known as like mutual aid, we help them, but they also help us because we have now ingrained ourselves in the community more. And so we can like get more people to go do more cool shit.
Right,
like that.
right. And it's like, oh, who's this fucking dude that just gave me a free brake light?
Right. No, we promise we're not asking you for anything.
Right.
Like, we don't want your Facebook login. We don't want any of that.
If you do that 100 times, then so you turning your money into shit that actually translates with the most fidelity into changing an individual life.
Absolutely, and it's not
How
charity.
do you do that? How do you just distribute the... I mean, that's awesome.
Right, so for what we have, if you go to dsa-la.org and you look and you click on the taillight benefit page, there is a like a Kickstarter type thing. It's within our chapters, like a fundraising thing. And so far we've raised over $1,000, and then what happens is we just ask around to friends who know mechanics. We've reached out to high schools that have shop classes. We're looking for a venue now, a large parking lot. The school would be rad because ICE can't come on school property. And so what we do is we then talk to our friends and say, hey, who knows how to change a brake light. Then they run a training for the interested volunteers. So now our volunteers know how to fix their own cars, and then they go help fix other people's cars, and then just talk to them.
Yeah. Like that's appealing to a guy like me because I'm like, oh shit, now I feel a little more macho because I know how to do this thing. Dealing in brake lights now.
Right. You use your hands to help your community.
Speaking of which, like not to put you on the spot, but sure. A guy like me, so like classically fragile neoliberal, like maybe philosophically progressive, no research, total comfort zone, 5-bedroom house, just want everything to go back to the way it was, shuddering at night, fearing not being able to protect my girlfriend from any form of economic destabilization and any manifestation thereof, just want my comfort back. I felt like I was playing the game right, blah, blah, blah. You can read it all in my pamphlet. You get the picture with me. Guy, like, whether it's the famous version of me, but also I'm selfishly asking, like, what are more like you're directing me to that website in this case, but like, what are like little pieces of candy you can hand out once I get it on my tongue at no risk to my own comfort,
right?
That when I taste it, it'll start happening for me.
This is a thing that we talk about a lot, that our healthcare committee and a lot of people working nationally in the healthcare committee talk about, is the difference between selfishness, selflessness, and self-interest. These are three different things. Selfishness is, hey, I got all this money, I don't want it to go to anybody, no taxes, whatever, and pure greed, right? Or on conversely, it's, I broke my leg, I need Medicare for all because my leg is broken, right? Selflessness is, I am a perfectly healthy person. I don't need anything. I'll never be sick because I'm in shape. Take my bone
marrow. I've got extra marrow.
Right, and you're doing this for somebody else and not for you at all.
Right.
But selfless or self-interest
I like this already.
Self-interest is, how can I help everybody else out while also helping myself out? Because we're all in this together. And so that's the tone that we're aiming for when we talk to people.
You guys like that third one, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because that really sounds good.
I like your little dance that you did.
Well, because it's like there is room in the world for people under an actual form of democratic socialism,
right?
That like tell me yes or no. I think the big root fear for I would say especially, but definitely including poor people, is, hey, wait, I don't want the rules to monopoly to be that you can't have more money than someone else.
Right. And see, this is a thing that is, a very successful propaganda campaign that...
It's conflating communism and socialism, essentially, right?
Yes. And democratic socialism specifically is not like a state. Like, it's not like this big state power or whatever.
Roads
like,
and Medicare are socialist. Then they exist in... Social Security is socialist, and it exists today.
Absolutely.
It's not communism.
Probably the most famous form of socialism is Social Security, and what it is it's not only a thing that benefits people from people that already have too much, where it's like, this is fair. We all agree that everybody knows that the people at the top aren't paying enough, and so we all can agree that, like, okay, they just get paid a little bit, or they pay a little bit fucking more into taxes, and then literally we all have healthcare. We all have access to a doctor. It's that easy. And what we want more is like a co-op where you're a worker, you own your company, you're a shareholder. There's not a room full of faceless number men in gray smoky suits with fucking just like guns to a dog's head, and all the profits go to them.
Stockholders.
Yeah, the shareholders.
Right, with their interests.
And so, like, a good example of this is another thing that we're doing at the DSA right now, which is we are trying to help Los Angeles create a public bank. Not for you and me to go to the ATM, but when you think about it, Los Angeles has something like $8 billion in 700 bank accounts, all at Wells Fargo. At that one bank. And that $8 billion is everything from your electric bill payments to your taxes to fees to 401k plans for city clerks. When that money is in Wells Fargo then, through loans and dividends and investments and whatnot, they spread that money to Philip Morris. They spread that money to weapons companies and so
Keystone Pipeline.
Exactly. Yes. That's
What's
one
the
of the
phrase for this again? I saw Sarah Silverman talking about it.
Divestment. And so a lot of people, Sarah Silverman being one of them, and myself included, have divested our personal money from big Wall Street banks and put them into credit unions. But now what we're asking is for cities, for municipalities, because you and me, and we do like this, it's a drop in the bucket, but $8 billion that is not going to get invested in horrible fossil fuels or private prisons is big chunk of change to get out of
You
Wall
were
Street's
talking
hands.
about that, this idea that
there's-
local politics started to get subsumed by the banking industry.
I'll be talking out of my ass. There's this YouTube documentary you can watch called Hypernormalization, which is very scary.
It's great.
One of the things it talked about is there was this huge change where the bankers who were de facto funding everything on the government's behalf, because banks stand to gain from being in the business of government, they're like, yeah, let's go along. We'll give you the loan. You can make this building. We'll make City Hall. We're working together as a team. They went from that to saying, wait a second, we have all the money. Fuck you guys. Do everything we say, because we're a private corporation that now holds the purse strings for the government. And when that fundamental power shift changed, kind of everything got ruined and fucked. So it sounds like this is kind of a reversal. It's defanging the power that finance has, or private finance has, over the government, which shouldn't be in the business of private finance. It should be in the business of aiding people.
Right, exactly. And so these, when your electric bill is sitting at Wells Fargo's making, if you pay your electric bill with a credit card, Wells Fargo gets a fee. And that's just coming right off the top from the
Not
city
going to the
money
government.
It doesn't go to the government. It doesn't go to make your roads better or your schools better. It goes into some fucking cokehead's pocket, And so what we want is to create a municipal bank where then all of this money is housed in an institution that's central motive isn't profit. Its central motive is, hey, we are, this is city public money. It's your money. It's my money. It's all of our money. It should stay in Los Angeles, and beyond that, we should open it up so that people historically that have had a hard time getting loans can get loans. We can use this money, if it's run well, which banks happen to be run well when it comes to collecting a profit at the end of the year. Instead of that profit going to bankers, that profit can go into housing or schools and the like.
The theory behind the American dream is that money is the great equalizer, that it is like somehow a supreme kind of meta form of democracy that doesn't have to happen every 4 years pulling a lever, that you can work hard and work so hard, love your children so much, love your family so much, that you can chisel away at so much fucking coal in a mine while your coal mining colleague is like, I love mining coal, but I'm going to go home and fucking chill. I can't wait to get off of work, and I figured out a way to mine coal. But that if you, for whatever reason,
pull yourself up by your
that you're
bootstraps.
like, God damn it, I'm fucking going to mine so much fucking coal. And that somehow that represents some kind of egress, that you can become a capitalist, that you can become, there are people listening to that disagree with me politically, but absolutely everyone agrees that that's what's for sale. It is whenever anyone detracts, whenever someone cries out for rights or fair treatment, and people start coming down on them and saying why don't you get a fucking job? Why don't you just work hard? What do you mean? Isn't this a slippery slope? All this stuff. All of those sentiments lead back to the Rome of, yeah, but shouldn't we just live in a society where if you work extra hard, harder than the person next to you, that represents a changed opportunity to play the Monopoly game?
Right, and fundamentally, it's a flawed premise because that doesn't take into account historical context of people of color being subjugated and generationally not being put in a position where they can get this job. So that leads white people who don't know that they have, started the race at the finish line, going hey, look at these people lagging in the back. Maybe if they ran faster, and the thing is, it's not your fault if you're a white dude that racism exists. And that's a big problem with a lot of people on the left that are correctly angry but aren't trying to bring people in and go, I don't hate every Trump voter. I think that talking about Trump voters as this huge amorphous blob of hate is wrong. It's wrong-headed. It's bad. 20% I'll give. 20% of Trump voters, irreparable racists, horrible people. But I really truly believe that 80% of Trump voters have a kid that's addicted to opiates or lost their house or lost their job, and like you said, they kept fucking working hard and nothing happened, and so they wanted to make a change. They just wanted to give a big fuck you to the system that ruined their lives. And the Democrats, seeing this, and this is why I don't think you can work within the Democratic Party, because ultimately they're beholden to their donors, but they see this, and who do they trot out to fight this? The avatar of the status quo. And you see it happen over and over and over again. And the only time that it works is if you have literally the most charismatic man who's ever been nominated for president to sell that bill of goods to people.
Yeah, and if that ever happened, boy, you'd know it, because there would be this actual measurable shift in everything from economy to society, to the point. And I'm not kissing his feet, but it's like, we cannot wait for another guy that happens to be that lightning in a jar.
As long as it's, I don't know, because I think Obama as a man is a great man. I think he as a president, I disagreed with a lot of his decisions. Obviously, compared to the other guys, that sandwiched him, he was this golden, statue of pure greatness. But I think the Democrats fundamentally don't understand how power works, because if they did, they wouldn't have lost thousands of state legislature seats under Obama. How, when you have such a popular president, can you just get fucking creamed in every local election? And it's because the Democrats are just so top heavy. They're this big bobblehead that is just doomed to fall forward and not move.
Yeah, okay.
And so that's why we at the DSA, we're not targeting even senators or, we want state legislatures.
It's a thing that we all have in
people.
common with these let's say these 20% of Trump voters who actually voted out of frustration. We're cousins, all of us. If you in your backyard there's a pothole that hasn't been filled,
right?
If by virtue of some bureaucratic absurdity your kid's leukemia isn't covered,
right.
Everybody,
and bureaucratic absurdity in that case, by the way, is greed. It's definitely greed.
And it's just that, because it's just by virtue of belt buckles and baseball caps and the way that we express when we aren't armed with Noam Chomsky's vocabulary, our frustration with a system. Some guy right next to me in terms of tax bracket and ideology is going to maybe say key phrases that I have been armed to recognize as the enemy. Mm-hmm. Well, when these guys start talking about freedom of speech, they mean they want to be Nazis. When these guys start talking about where's my gold pocket watch, what they mean is that they want this institutionalized thing, and then they're hearing the same thing. I mean, when these people talk about Black Lives Matter, they mean blah blah blah, and it's like, I mean, we've all said it 1,000 times, and it's right under our nose. Like the divisions there are so artificially imposed; they have to be forced. Otherwise, if you these movies where like society collapses, and then like within 30 years, there's just ivy and wolves everywhere. Right. Like there is constant infrastructural pressure necessary to maintain a division between a black person and a white person in America.
Right, and
you have to wake up every morning and make sure those two people know that they're black and white.
And they do, and the powers that be do that. And it starts, you go back to Howard Zinn, who is somebody I have read a lot and really defined my worldview. He talks about how after one of the first big slave rebellions, where white slaves and black slaves teamed up, the powers that were like, oh, fuck. If all of the poor people team up, we're fucked. So they created the middle class. They were like, okay, white slaves in the New World, when you guys got 20 years, and then you'll get a house, and you'll get a car, and you'll get, not a car, but a horse, which was, they called them cars back then. But you'll get a house and a horse and fucking 40 acres and a mule, and that was so.
There's a horse in every pot.
A horse in every pot and a chicken underfoot.
And one day the pot
Chicken
will have
foot.
wheels. We promise.
Yeah, the wheeled pot and real pot.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So. What that does is that makes it so that, and you're right, it is this intense artificial pressure, but it is very specific, and it is there purposefully, and it's to keep the people that are 2 rungs from the bottom of the ladder kicking down.
Yep.
Just constantly kicking down. And if we all realize that we're all being fucked and don't try to buy into the artificial fucking separation of who we are and allow each other to make mistakes and whatnot, that's how the labor movement got us a weekend. It was these people weren't less racist back when labor had more power in America. People were more racist. We get less racist every year, but through great organizing and people that literally died and standing up for their rights, you saw black people, white people, men and women team up to go, we're all getting fucked. Some of us might be getting fucked less, some of us may be getting fucked more, but we're banding together because, again, self-interest. It helps me, it helps everybody else. We need to band together on this.